good morning to you, Dr. Ben Onwudinjo, Public Policy Analyst and President, University of Nigeria Alumni Association, Abuja branch. It's wonderful to have you join us here in the studio.
Thank you very much. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Well, Dr. Ben, aggrieved stakeholders in the Niger Delta. Big talks about coalition. Everyone seems to be looking for the endorsement of ex-President Muhammadu Buhari. How much does this shape the political landscape ahead of 2027? Is his endorsement what swinging the opinion of voters, or is it what derailing the agenda of APC for a second term?
Thank you very much. I want to start by talking about the word aggrieved. I prefer to use alternatives. Because see, the moment you say aggrieved, you have already set up a fight. And then, some of the journalists are not grammarians. You throw a word up, you set up the place, you set up the polity on fire. So I prefer to say alternative viewers, alternative people opinions. So if I use word, or because if you say aggrieved, it becomes plus negative. They are preparing for fight. So those who have alternative opinions from government have a right to do so. Is that not so? Now, but if they have alternative, it means they are preparing to push their narratives ahead of or beyond the one those in power are holding. So they have a right to do so. And then if they feel that the endorsement of anybody can help them push their own narrative better, then they have a right. It is only time and the electorates that can say for certain which one is better and which one is not better.
Well, let's move on to Rivers, because it almost seems as though the opposition, like you're saying in alternatives, are also looking at alternative accusations. They're looking at the Rivers emergency rule as an alternative way of power grab. They're accusing the APC of putting in place people loyal to the FCT minister as administrators in 20 local government areas. The PDP in particular is seeking the help of 11 senior advocates of Nigeria to fight the case in the Supreme Court, while the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice has also drafted his reply to the Supreme Court's query on why the administrator would have 23 administrators in local government councils. Let's get your thoughts on this.
Now, when you talk about democracy, when you talk about power, it's a question of struggle. I'm trying to calm down and avoid flowing in those negative words. Because the words you used are fight words, negatives. So if I follow you, we will further set up the policy on fire. So let me, as a grammarian, let me come down, step down a bit, and say that it's a question of power struggle. And then the other sides have their own rights to struggle for power. But the important thing is that where does each of the sides stay in terms of helping to pursue the benefit of the masses, the preponderance of the masses? If the alternative A and alternative B are pursuing power, one, are they following the due process? Are they following the law? Are they following the wishes of the majority? If they are following that, then it will not become the onus on the electors to follow either this or that. Meanwhile, for anybody who goes against the law, against the constitution, is setting the place on fire and impoverishing Nigerians and bringing chaos, and also setting us backwards democracy-wise, setting us backwards development-wise, and then the history will not be kind to them.
Dr. Ben, when you say if anybody who has gone against the constitution will be setting people back, are you talking about the decision of the president to not just declare a state of emergency, but to suspend the governor, because it doesn't give provisions in the constitution for a suspension of a democratically elected governor in a state just because a state of emergency is declared in the state?
The president is one person.
Yes.
The law recognizes all of us as equal, me and you. So whether you are president or not, you are simply a citizen. You are simply a person entrusted with power to govern us. So if you are president and you go against the law, you are bringing disunity. So I'm not removing anybody, whether you are president or governor or minister. We want you to follow the law, follow the constitution. But if you go against it because you have power, then you are glorifying chaos. You are glorifying bad behavior, and you are setting Nigeria back. So it doesn't matter, president to anybody. We want the country to grow. We want the country to be of international best practice. You cannot do that if anybody is going against the tenets of the constitution. If you have to declare state of emergency, my question is this: have you followed the tenets of the constitution? Have you done it in good conscience, in good faith? If not, then it's only history. that can come to play, and then we want and then you're not doing the best to us. I'm not menacing anybody.
Now the big conversation is on the appointment of the sole administrator, who's supposed to run the state as a sole administrator, but in so doing feels the need to employ more administrators in local governments to help with the running of these LGAs. Is it necessary, owing to the fact that the Supreme Court judgment also set aside the election that produced the local government chairman prior to now and its position on caretaker committees? Because I don't see a difference between administrators and caretakers. You're talking about positive words, so maybe I should call them caretakers and not administrators.
Yes. Let us keep to plus positive words so that we don't set up the heat. We don't hit the polity more. You know, I'm a policy analyst and I'm also a grammarian. If not, the words, your choice of words, your addition can cause war. Now, does the Constitution say that a sole administrator can as well also appoint more of his likes? That is what the Supreme Court should determine. And that's why we encourage the PDP governors and any other stakeholder to approach the Supreme Court and let them adjudicate and ensure that the due process is followed. If the Supreme Court, they are also like a law too. If they say, no, you as a sole administrator, you are not supposed to appoint, then it should be like that. But if they say yes, then he should be allowed to appoint. My concern is that at the end of it all, where is the place of the masses? Can we have a better living? Can we have mortality rate reducing? Can we have the indices of development getting better or not? If not, then it shouldn't be power for power's sake. It shouldn't be anybody playing games at the expense of the ordinary masses. Because the idea of government is to ensure that we improve governance, we improve the masses. We must make Nigeria to be internationally competitive. When we finish making I said it here the other day about the elite conspiracy. This person, another person, at the level. What about the masses? So let the choice by the Supreme Court be guided by the tenets of the Constitution, and we must follow.
What is your position on the decision by the sole administrator to demand for a new 2025 appropriation bill?
Like I said, if we have accepted that he's genuine, he's legal, then he cannot run the place without some money. My opinion, let me say it 3 times, is that if you are a sole administrator, you can as well also, I'm not saying that I'm in support of that, whether he should have been there or not, but I'm saying that he's not a military man in this context. Are you going to collect money, spend it without any checks and balances? So if you look at appropriation, we'll now look at whether those who set him up, whether he's able to get approval from the National Assembly to gazette, to look through those, because to make sure that if not, somebody will collect the money and put it somewhere, everybody will go away. So my opinion is that there should be checks and balances. Either the National Assembly should supervise that, and in the House of Reps should supervise that, or that's the only existing power I can see that can supervise, that can superintend over appropriations in River State as far as this
dispensation is concerned.
Yeah, as far as this one is concerned. Otherwise, he becomes an authoritarian person. Call two or three of his mates, 2 or 3 of his friends, give them money, they share it, and end of story. So there must be checks.
Dr. Ben, I like how very diplomatic you sound about the entire situation in River State, and I like that you don't want to call names, you don't want to pinpoint certain issues to certain individuals. However, there have been talks that there have been speculations of talks between the suspended governor Sasiminalai Fubara and his former principal, talking about the FCT minister Barrister Nyesom Wike, who has been pointed at several times as the major cause of the crisis or the situation in River State, which has led up to what we are seeing today. Do you think that these talks would sort of resolve anything going forward? Realistically,
I'm struggling to avoid using words.
I noticed, but you can't play too safe.
No, not as per. I'm saying choice of words. They want me to start saying principal. You are my principal.
His former boss, because he served as a commissioner under the administration of Nyesom Wike.
Where does this play out in the Constitution of Nigeria? Does the former boss have the right to come and be talking about it now? You are my boss today, then tomorrow I become the boss. Then you come back and be. This context should not even apply in a democracy. That is, I can simply displace this analogy. We'll start afresh. A former boss, the principal, being able to play a role, it shouldn't apply.
Dr. Ben, we are seeing the reality playing out in front of us. If you want to go by this, if you want to play by this rule, then it means that you should also be faulting the president for taking sides with the FCT minister. There is no way that we will all sit here and pretend that we do not know who has a hand in this particular issue. We cannot sit here and pretend that we do not know who orchestrated the entire situation, the entire crisis, the entire upheaval that we are currently seeing in Rivers State, due to what he feels like is insubordination, or what he feels like is a retraction from the agreement made prior to the inception of the administration of the suspended governor.
As a citizen of Nigeria, I have the right to fault Mr. President.
Yes.
If he does something wrong, I have the law protects me to bring my opinion out. And if the president does something that I don't like, I can say it. Now, all this analogy you have placed on the table now. Yes. Where does that place democracy in Nigeria? I'm a public policy analyst. Now, by the time you talk about the reality on ground, obviously you have said is the reason why Nigeria was at the time the worst country on earth in terms of education. Nigeria was the poverty capital on earth before. Nigeria was the infant mortality, open defecation, name all of that. Nigeria was the worst, irrespective of the resources we have in Nigeria, human and material. So this scenario you are painting is dastardly, is, let me say, shameful. How do you, what is time? Time is the greatest. Now, when somebody begins to play beyond boundaries, whether you're president, whether you're weak, whether you're minister, what is it? I was saying it on another channel. I was saying, if I'm a governor, I wanted to be governor of my state. I contested in Enugu State as 2018 as under ABGA. And I couldn't even, during the elections, I was, Dr. Paul gave me sensitivity to stand. That is, during campaign, people are on you. My point is this: what does it take to be a governor? What does it take to be a president? It is, you are going beyond what God said you should be. Your governor, you can say, give him 2 billion, give him 3 billion, give him 4 billion. Does it improve your social, does it improve your spirit? Does it improve your life? So this, you are painting this scenario, and to explain under this structure why Nigeria is a sleeping giant. So I want to displace it completely, because it shouldn't be what we're going to be discussing in this 21st century, whereby we're talking about, it's like fight. It's like animal farm.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I'm not actually advocating for what is happening. Mm-hmm. I'm only facing the facts and facing the reality. And
I'm saying we should displace that and ignore them and face the reality. The reality is this.
What is the reality on ground, Dr. Ben?
The reality on ground is that we are not doing as we're supposed to do as a nation, because the players are playing plus negative. Now, if you come to this land, me and my brother, we are fighting. What will you do? You join us in fighting. You box me, I box you. Here. Then, are you doing justice? What we're going to do is to say, settle it, step, everybody go back to your duties. I want us to reduce, I want us to demarcate that fight. Because the more you push it in the public, the more it improves. The more people, because you shape narratives, you shape people's opinion. So when we're doing this kind of topic, what I want to do is to reduce it and bring out new narratives, because as a public opinion, as a opinion holder, if you face them in banging the narrative, so everybody's holding it. So if you bring it, I will bring it down, and if you plant cassava now, it will die, somebody else come up. So let us redirect the narrative to shape people's opinions positively. Otherwise, what do you have in studio?
Now let's talk about the masses, but before we get to that, I'd like to find out from a point of experience. Mm-hmm. You ran for the office of governor in Enugu.
Yes.
And you knew the financial needs at the time to be able to sustain such an ambition. Now here is an agreement which my colleague referred to as part of the reasons why the FCT minister feels as though democracy is subservient to the agreement he had with his godson. I use that word because he still feels like a father who doesn't want to allow the child be independent, feels like he should come to him for certain advices. And we saw the fractured relationship as it continued to deteriorate up until this point where those who said they were loyal to him in the State House of Assembly that is supposed to be an independent arm of government also played their role in what has broken down to an emergency rule. Do you think that this cost of running elections in Nigeria and whatever agreements a godson or godfather have post-elections should have democracy above all personal wills? Reminder that politics is a game of interest.
First, the cost of running elections in Nigeria is usually exaggerated.
For real.
I said I participated. I should give you evidence.
Declaration of interest.
It is
cost of purchasing the form.
It is largely exaggerated. You know, politicians. On another topic, let me go to this one. When you say you funded me, and then you're funding me as an interest, as a way of insisting on keeping power in Nigeria or anywhere, then you are not a Democrat. When you insist, and maybe because you have power or you have resources, it's the only time that can tell. What is Hitler today? Hitler. Have you seen other people like that? It's the only time. What I will do, if I come, I'm a public all over the places. What I will do is that I help to deflect this type of narrative, and then we'll give you time. Barack, army, they say,
soldier come, soldier go.
When you become, like now, you are here now, you think you are too much, you can do and don't do, you can kill, we'll give you time. But we will not put fuel, we will not help you to escalate it and destroy people. You can say I'm taking another perspective in terms of public policy analysis. I'm not trying to join you in escalating it. People are listening to you, and you don't know who is going to pick it up, and they take more arms.
But let's also talk conflict resolution, which is the only way out of this, because it's a 6 months initial period.
Yes.
And so long as this, would I call them the fomenters of this trouble, because it started from them, as long as they continue feeling that they owe each other some unresolved bargains, I don't see that resolution beyond the peace accord that was signed the first time being resolved. That's my point. How do we de-escalate it like you're hoping for, and have these people who started this issue come back to embrace one another?
By ignoring them. I'm telling you the truth. Did you read classics? The worst the highest you can do to a war is by using suspense, by using if I ignore you, you want to fight me, I ignore you. I've done you the worst. If they think they can do and don't do, they can fight, they box everybody. Ignore them. What is 6 months? What is even 6 years? What is even 8 years? Ignore them. After a while, they will tire. But if you foil their narrative, they are boxing. What is time? Time is just like a twinkle of an eye. So I suggest we ignore them.
And let's come to the masses.
And that will be the best resolution to this matter.
What do? You want to join them?
What if it doesn't stop?
It will not stop. But I'm saying it's only time that can stop them. Otherwise, what do? You join them. You can see that they are combatants. Each person is fighting the other person. What do you want to do? You don't have the power. They have the power. They have the resources. What do you want to do? Join them or what?
Let's talk about the masses, because this judgment also suspended the release of federal allocation to Rivers State. Now that there is an administrator, the local government autonomy we're talking about has the financial angle to it. With this administrators appointed by the sole administrator, it would mean that the money would flow through the local governments, but it's going to be under the purview of these administrators, constitutionally speaking. What does this do to the topic of local government autonomy?
Let me give you another angle. I bring different perspectives to public policy. Don't be annoyed, because it is my opinion, and I'm an expert in it. Remember when Obasanjo was there? Tinubu was in Lagos.
Governor of Lagos, yeah.
And they seized his resources. Do you remember? Did they die? They didn't die. So, and Rivers is not even a poor state. If you ask me, if I'm part of public policy in Rivers State, I will ignore them. 6 months. Ignore them. I will also be in Port Harcourt. My brother, what will you do to them? Fight? You want us to keep the fighting? Box. Ignore them. Rivers can survive without the allocation for 6 months. So when they say that because you are a giant financially, whatever, and then I want to come and help you to defeat your brother.
But you remember we're talking the masses here, because they are the ones who feel aggrieved. I'm using the word aggrieved again because...
but I don't like the word aggrieved.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
In fact, if there's anything, I would prefer the word disgruntled.
I'll tell you why, Doctor.
I prefer unhappy.
Doctor, unhappy. Okay, let's settle for unhappy, and I'll tell you why they're unhappy. Because they feel, particularly Rivers, in terms of what it contributes to the IGR, the oil there is taken, and that's the derivative from which federal allocation is reimbursed to the states. Now, if you take from me as part of the top contributors to the IGR, and I don't get the monthly allocation, it makes those impoverished in the Niger Delta feel cheated day after day. And hence you see some of the agitations that then President Goodluck Jonathan found an amnesty route to coming back again, with pipelines being threatened to be vandalized. Now they're also accusing the suspended governor of having orchestrated those vandalizations that led to the emergency rule. But remember, it's the masses we're talking about again, and the unhappy states. If we ignore the fact that allocation will not be sent for 6 months, don't you see this unhappiness degenerating into aggrievement?
No, I don't see like that. Why do you have a studio? The reason is this: you are helping to mold public opinion, and they listen to you
and fight for social justice.
And then the word fight, you come again, and the struggle for social justice. If you say fight, I don't want these negative words, combative words. You are molding public opinion, for goodness sake. And if you, there are choice of words. If you encourage them,
but a struggle is an honest fight. It's just grammar, like you said,
and the grammar makes the point. Grammar makes the difference. I can make you, for what I tell you now, can make you to fight me here.
An honest struggle, an honest fight.
So let us be positive in our semantic densities. Now, otherwise, you can use a studio to set up fight. Some people can be arguing with you, and then they start knife, and they start. So let me say, if you don't de-escalate the tension, you will end up having these people at the grassroots, at the Niger Delta, take up arms. The other thing they can do is to take up, what can they do? Take up arms, you go into pipeline vandalization again, it goes into, and when they take up arms, when Nigeria will be on fire. Because they will go to the creeks and start another fight, go into the creeks and start, it will boil down to non-state actors. I'm trying to be careful in avoiding to join the fray. If you join the fray, it worsens. So, even people, when two elephants fight, the masses become the victim. So I'm saying, the escalating from the masses' point of view, let them just know that it's only a question of time. My brother, if you don't give River State allocation for 6 months, they will survive. Ignore them and move on. And then what else will you do? Fight, join in the fight. If you finish the whole analysis in terms of, I was a safety officer before, our dictum was that it's not a question of who is right, it is who is safe. You drive now, I drive my motor now, you drive your own now, and then at the end of it, you are right too, but I'm dead. So what will make the country to be better is to de-escalate this narrative in the rivers, whether it is Wike, whether it is president, ignore them. Totally ignore these people and move on. Rivers, have you gone to Port Harcourt? They are rich. What is the allocation? It will be, they will still share it among themselves. The people will still share the allocation. Let them do their agrarian something. Let them do their business. 6 months, not 6 years. Ignore these people. What do you do? I don't want to join in the fray. It's not necessary.
Now let's talk about the opinion of court judgments, because this river situation was also off the back of a Supreme Court judgment. Coming to another Supreme Court judgment, this time in the leadership of the Labour Party, setting aside the Julius Abure faction, we're seeing struggles. Many are accusing again the opposition of spearheading these divisions along party lines, but it's the position of the law. The law too in some ways playing a part. Judgments that are not clearly interpreted. The judgment now is saying it did not remove Abure entirely. That's a position of some party stalwarts. Whilst you see the others also looking to endorse their preferred chairmanship candidate. How do those parties that are supposed to provide formidable opposition to the APC ahead of 2027 get their houses in order in the face of court judgments that are not clear?
It is another shame that Nigeria plays politics like animals. When I was in Enugu State, when I was contesting, you know what? Let me not call their names. I will come to a party and sponsor oppositions and sponsor crisis. And then to enable you not be able to compete with me. Yeah. You're not allowing people to compete based on rules and regulations, based on merit. Why are we suffering in Nigeria, irrespective of the resources we have? Now, these Labour Party people, Peter Obi had said it openly that government had a hand in it. Go there, fund this person, create crisis, so that they cannot give you superior or alternative policy grounds. So they won't let the people see what you can do. They won't let you even survive. I don't give it all. It becomes a shame. When you put a totality of what we are doing in Nigeria, are we going to call it true democracy? I'm trying to avoid calling people's names so that you go, I'm a small person. But I'm telling you that the analogy you have made shows that there is a hand of Esau in the situation.
Are you saying explicitly that the APC is the one sponsoring all of this crisis within the Labour Party and the PDP?
APC has been accused. I'm not the member of APC. I'm in Labour. I used to be in ABGA.
Yes.
I contested under ABGA, and I'm in Labour now. I'm saying that they have been accused of. Yes. I don't have facts to say.
But these are allegations or accusations made by certain keen political observers of the political scene of the country.
Yes, and I was a stakeholder. I participated in contesting as governor of Enugu State. I'm saying that I saw it firsthand. I'm not that I can give you facts. Like now, three of us are contesting. Yes. Then I am in government. What I'm going to do is to go and bring somebody somewhere, fund him to be in a party, and then his own is to create chaos. It will let you be trouble. So that people are even trying to survive. So you're not even able to provide alternative policy situations for the country. So people they just demarket you. Is that supposed to be like that? Otherwise, governance should have been merit. Should have been a situation whereby people choose. You allow people to be at their best, but government will not allow you to be at your best. They sponsor chaos. They sponsor trouble. For the 4 years, you are even trying to survive safe.
Dr. Ben, I would like to find out, why did you jump ship from APGA to Labour Party?
Because, well, I choose my words.
Don't choose your words. Be very honest with us. I'm asking because
Dr. Ben is being too careful.
The subject of party ideologies is why I asked the question. Why did you jump ship from APGA to Labour Party? Let's understand firsthand.
It's because we saw that P2B came from another angle. Yeah. P2B deconstructs like me. P2B does not give money like me. Before my mother gives you money, you must justify beyond reasonable doubt. The same I'm a son of teachers. So I find his principles in alignment with mine, and I saw that he's a person who can follow. And I saw that I believed in his policies, and then you can always follow a leader. And then Labour Party is more intellectual than ABGA. I'm an intellectual. So I felt this one can, if opportunity comes, this one can provide Nigeria with the required leadership.
But what you're saying sounds to me more like the independent candidacy, because you're saying off the back of the individual nature of the presidential candidate in 2023 informed your decision to jump parties, not the party ideology in itself. Because now we see Abure and Apapa at war, and it feels as though the party does not have the Peter Obi values that you speak of.
No, I don't believe so. I'm saying that P2B influenced. P2B was in ABGA before. All of us were in ABGA.
But he seems not to be able to influence the Labour Party to follow this values.
No, he should not influence in terms of negatives. When P2B stands, if he stands today, it's like the Bible says. So, can I use the Bible?
Yes, please.
Put a light. You don't light a candle, put it under the table. The moment he stands, his values illuminate. And then you see what you can get. You see where he's going. You see that there's a road map. And his coming to Labour Party helps to illuminate and improve the values Labour has. Labour is, remember, the Labour is a very important aspect of production. And we feel that if Labour is there, it will I want to suffer in Nigeria. We can have an alternative, and Labour is a better alternative.
Dr. Ben, Labour is a better alternative, but I just want to ask you and get a very straight answer to this question. Who, at the moment, is the National Party Chairman of the Labour Party?
I saw the CTC given by my friend, the governor of Abia State. All of us were in Abga. Yeah. He was contesting under Abga in Imo. I was contesting Imo Abia. I was contesting under Abga in Enugu State. We were colleagues. Now, they brought up the CTC, and I saw it there. I'm not a lawyer, but I saw that the Supreme Court had sacked Abure. I saw it with my eyes. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Nenadius man, the one that they have said, is the interim one. So, but Lamidi Apapa came, another person came. So, for me, I'm not going to follow what the Supreme Court said.
So, at the moment, there are 4 individuals claiming ownership or claiming the seat of the chairman, National Party Chairman of the Labour Party.
Are there 4 individuals? There's only one. These people are simply
talking about energy.
So the other people are content creators. They just want to be. They just want to be.
We recently saw the Labour Party hold an emergency NEC meeting as well as a stakeholders town hall, which we saw in attendance the governor of Abia State talking about Alex Oti, and of course Peter Obi was also in attendance. But on the day that the meeting was to hold, we had the National Publicity Secretary of your party join us virtually on the program, and he said that what they were going to do there was not a neck meeting for the Labour Party.
It was not recognized.
Exactly, because it was signed by Governor Alex Oti alongside Peter Obi, whereas it was supposed to be signed by the National Publicity Secretary and the National Party Chairman. He mentioned that Peter Obi was outside of the country as at the time when the meeting was about to hold, but we saw footage of the meeting and Peter Obi was there. What exactly is going on in the Labour Party, and why is the party in shambles and disarray?
Is the party in shambles?
It is in shambles.
How? I don't believe you.
I just gave you a clear analogy of the situation in your party. It is in total shambles.
An analogy does not make a party to be in shambles. If I come here
how is the governor of another state, of a state, who is just an NWC member, and of course the leader of somebody who is recognized as the leader of the party, talking about Peter Obi, how are they both signing
notice of a
neck meeting, whereas the publicity secretary and the National Party chairman were supposed to be the ones to sign that?
What is the problem with that?
When everything is the problem.
No. I for my PhD I did public administration.
Okay.
No, I don't believe that.
But just clarify on that particular matter. Why is the Labour Party unstable?
I am not able to agree with you that there is unstable. Are you thinking that we're in heaven? Are you in heaven, my brother?
Certainly not.
Is APC not? There must be one misunderstanding or the other. You cannot. The word shambles is totally odious.
Okay.
So they are not in shambles. They are people of different. There must be one controversy, one contention on the other. You can't say they are not in shambles. They are simply human beings contesting for power and agitating for a better Nigeria. They are not in shambles at all. Peter Obi, I can support you now. The management can direct you to sign a memo for it. But and then it does not make it illegal. I can be appointed today to say, Ben, Onwudinjo, go and help to do this thing. Except the management has debunked it. Somebody comes on air to say something, doesn't put Labour in shambles. No. Labour is actually the real party in Nigeria today.
But the National Publicity Secretary said he wasn't aware of the NEC meeting.
Must he be aware of the meeting? He must not be aware of the meeting.
As a key figure in the party?
What makes him key?
As the National Publicity Secretary?
It does not make him. If you make such statements, you find out that we will now know whether you are a content creator or not. Honestly.
So he's one of the content creators?
He's one of the. Remember, politics is drama, performance. I studied classics for my first degree at Nsukka, and then I'm coming to that when the other topic comes, whereby politics is about people performing. If you look at dramaturgy, Professor Emeka Nwabeze taught at UNN, there are people who are constantly acting. So constantly, and then when it comes to literature, it's not always it's about fiction. So what they say is different from what they do. So somebody may have another alternative, and another one reason to say something, and who may not even the correct thing. So that man that says so is simply acting.
Interesting.
Now let's talk about another angle to this conversation. A lot of persons look at the workings of the NLC and its association with Labour Party, and over time may have abused that there might be political intentions in terms of serving as an alternative policy director of the current government. Now Labour, making the headlines this morning, is talking about a wage renegotiation amid the current cost of living crisis. At the time 70,000 naira was agreed, a lot of Nigerians kicked against it. There were recommendations for an even higher wage at 150,000. But Dr. agreed with me this morning, even 150,000 naira monthly might not suffice. So how does the NLC revisit this table of wage negotiations, and what would you prefer be the new minimum wage?
I said don't mind them. I said don't mind them.
Why so?
Because even if you make wage 1 million naira per month, it will be worse. Some of these labor people, the labor leader people, are simply civil servants. They are looking for give me. Let me give another alternative. Can't Labour? I said it on. I should be on television everywhere. I said it on. I don't want to mention them. Several TV have been in Abuja for 10 years. I said it that can't Labour say, government, give us 1 trillion naira to all our members as a grant or loan for us to be producing producing food. And I said it on actual television, and then Niger State government quickly bought the idea, and they're doing it today. Okay, if you are a worker here, before I employ you, you must show me that you are producing either tomatoes or garri or something. Then, if you ask government, if you ask government to give you money to help do farming, because the head of service approves that as a government worker, you can do balancing the basket. You can be doing work, you can do government work and be farming. If you are able to solve food problem, remember you're a civil servant. Labor people are in charge of civil what? Concluded civil what?
Service.
So you want to live like politicians, like businessmen, like entrepreneurs? No, you are going to be suffering. You are going to be able to use agriculture to supplement what you're doing. As a civil servant, you have been able to set yourself apart from wealth. You are happy to hold humanity. So,
is this what civil servants will agree with? That they have been able to set themselves apart from wealth, and they are not allowed, or they are not supposed to aspire for wealth?
That is why we have a studio to educate them.
Okay.
Otherwise, agitate from now to tomorrow morning about let's make the wage 200,000 naira per month. It will be worse.
But doctor, what we are talking about is the national minimum wage in contrast to
a living wage.
To a living wage and the ever-growing inflation in the country.
I'm coming from deep structure analysis. I'm a public policy analyst.
Let's analyze the minimum wage and let's analyze the inflation.
And I'm saying it will fail. I'm saying if analyze it, it will crash. There's no way out of it apart from production. Analyze it from now to tomorrow. We are educating the public. Let's talk about it from now to tomorrow morning. It will simply fail.
In fact, we shouldn't even be too critical or over analytical about it. Let's just put it in clear terms. What 33,000 naira could buy you during the administration of then President Muhammadu Buhari, 70,000 naira would not purchase the same item in this current dispensation.
That is why I'm saying that it doesn't matter the amount of money you put as minimum wage. I'm saying the people who are looking for minimum wage should talk about something else apart from should talk about production. In addition to your salary, what else are you doing? And government said it under when I was in road safety, we talked about balancing the basket. Don't wait, pay me money or pay me, you have not paid me. It won't work.
We're talking about people who live from hand to mouth.
And I'm saying it is wrong.
Is it their fault that they cannot afford the time and luxury and money to be able to do something else?
They can afford the time and luxury and money.
How?
In my house now, I can have poultry. I can plant this, I can plant that. We can even plant yam in your house today. I'm saying it will lead us nowhere. If we keep talking about minimum wage, give us 1 million naira per month, it will crash. Let us start changing the narrative of this government, of governance. Otherwise, you will still remain poor, you will still retire, and nothing will happen. You are impoverished, and you are helping the market excellence. I'm saying, let labor leaders agitate for improvement in production for the civil servants, for their distance. As I told ASU, when ASU was going on strike, I said, you know, work, what will you do? Let us do the balancing basket. Go for class. You don't have to do the digging yourself. Agitate for minimum wage. It won't work.
Dr. Bello, it appears that you are pointing fingers at everybody else except the individuals who are currently the major cause of this entire situation, talking about the state governors or some state governors who have refused to start paying the new minimum wage.
I have given you an analogy before. I said, if you come here now, this studio, you saw me, see me and my brother fighting, what will you do? Join him or join me? I'm saying, what is the more intelligent thing to do? Is to find options, find plan B, find plan C, is to deepen. When you want to deconstruct public policy, I'm saying, I have it at my PhD. I'm saying, whatever you do in governance, there are two sides, surface structure and deep structure. I'm saying, we have been deconstructing public policy from the surface structure, and it has been failing. Let's go to the deep structure. I'm saying, don't bother with them. Leave them alone. Go to, what can I do to help myself? Not what government can do. Okay, if government does not do for you, what will you do?
Well, big questions this morning. It's also on alternative policies to government. The current administration thought it wise to create an entirely new ministry, Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. But up until now, 2 years down the line, experts are still questioning how functional the ministry is, citing that there are over 30,000 jobs untapped and the subject of economic diversification has not been harnessed to its full potential. What do you make of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and the potentials that are said to be therein?
There are several ministries that are driven by competent hands. If the ministry, like now, my boss gives me a mandate, vision and mission, and I lack the capacity to implement it or bring it to fruition, it fails. So we can as well look into the capacity of those people that have been entrusted with the responsibilities and say that there may be a problem there. Because one thing is to take power, take responsibility. Another thing is to interpret it and implement it and have the capacity, have the strength, mental and otherwise, and also have the political support to be able to do that. So it's a beautiful idea. Blue economy, marine, all those jargon, good. But what about the person implementing it? If I give you a role of carrying this house, it doesn't matter how the question is, are you able to do that? And then the question of appointing ministers are not necessarily based on the capacity of the person. So it boils down back to governance, the people at the helm of affairs. When next you are appointing a minister, you need to look at his antecedents, and then you find out that we are losing opportunities. Imagine the kind of jobs that Nigerians are missing because somebody is incompetent. In road safety, road frequency reduction, a simple mistake by a driver can send hundreds of people into the early grave. A simple mistake from a driver. So a simple mistake or incompetence of a minister in a ministry of this and that sends Nigeria into suffering.
Now, we saw the president at some point rejig his cabinet. There were conversations for technocrats to get such ministerial appointments, but there was also the other opinion of persons who felt that those who played vital roles in the emergence of the president and the renewed hope mandate need to be rewarded with those positions either. For you, how do you balance this reward in terms of loyalty systems and technocrats who have the wherewithal and knowledge to run such ministries?
I have a different opinion. I feel, I'm a Nigerian, I have my opinion. I'm saying this rejigging is simply strategizing for 2027. Otherwise, the one we rejigged before, what has the impact been? So it's a chess, drawing a chess. If I've favored you already. Let's do another person. Favor. That is like a playing card. So we will measure your capacity. We measure public policy by we have program planning, program implementation, program evaluation, and feedback mechanism. Why we stop in Nigeria is only program plan and implementation. We don't talk about evaluation. But I am putting it at the level of evaluation. We can only evaluate your plan. We can only look at a plan based on the evaluations. And what are we getting? We're not getting the value for money now. So if we're not getting it, that means the plan is faulty in the first instance. Then we can go to the deep structure to analyze it. And we say that the actual reason why they do that is not even because of the surface structure. That is not even because of what they're saying. That is another thing in mind in terms of repositioning people to be able to be ready for 2027. So I don't believe that they're doing it to be able to push forward the economy. They're just playing politics. They're not looking at the evaluation. If you evaluate, if you are not doing well here now, if you come, if you give me a job to do and I'm not doing well, meaning I'm not delivering on the tangibles, then you bring another person who can deliver on the tangibles so that the masses will be better. But if you bring somebody else who is even worse, it means that I didn't understand what we are talking about, or I'm doing something else apart from delivery of services. And I'm saying this rejigging is only a chess targeted at 2027. Otherwise, why are we not getting the value for money today?
Interesting. Well, Dr. Ben has quite given us a very intense and in-depth analysis in as much as he has been tiptoeing and trying to be very careful with his words and playing safe. Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be turning our attention to more political matters, as the presidency has recently refuted claims of setting up billboards in the FCT and Kano State with regards to the president and vice president's ambitions ahead of the 2027 general polls. Now, this refutal was made by Bayo Onanuga on his official X handle. We'll take a break. When we come back, the conversation with Dr. Ben continues.
Well, thanks for staying with us on the program this morning as we get to our main topic of conversation this morning. Are there a thing like premature campaigns? What are INEC's guidelines on the time allowed for a declaration of interest and the commencement of political campaigns. When is the window for such campaigns to end? And how does this affect voters' choices? Now, this is off the back of a post made on Bayo Onanuga's X handle, as the presidency has dismissed the 2027 agenda with billboards in Lagos and Kano, and the FCT as well, drumming support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his vice, Kashim Shettima. Now, Dr. Ben is still with us in the studio this morning. It's on the angle of those conversations. Is it premature? Does it infringe on INEC's guidelines? And how much of a statement of intent is this that the presidency is disassociating itself with the Agenda 2027?
Thank you very much. Like I said, I am an expert in public policy analysis. And anything government says, you must see it from 2 points of view: surface structure and deep structure. Meaning what they have said and what they didn't say. And you can get the real answer from what they didn't say. And in public policy, you have theory X and theory Y. Theory X is a rogue public policy deconstruction perspective, whereby we call it, because I don't believe the presidency. I don't believe them. I saw the script written by Bayo Onanuga. I don't believe him. I'm not attacking them, but I'm just saying my opinion as a Nigerian. I'm saying that there is no way the president will not be aware of this. You know why? What they do, that they test the waters. They bring out these things and they deny. Please, did you attach how many people were arrested for putting the billboards?
Have the billboards even been brought down? Because in the FCT this morning, if you drive through the Bega Usi axis, you'd find one. You come into central area here on your way to Maitama, you'd see another one. There are about 4 that I cited in recent weeks, and up until now they're still standing.
So they are using rogue public policy strategy, whereby they will let people do something. They will go behind and instigate something and test people's opinion and test people's response and deny. And at the end of it all, they look at people's perspectives and they adjust, and then come to the conclusion. One day now they say, based on people's opinion, based on people's public opinion, people are mandating us to go ahead. So that perspective from Bayo Onanuga is a rogue public policy strategy, whereby some allegedly faceless people do something. If government doesn't want it, they will clamp on those people. They get them. So I'm saying I'm not able to agree that government is not aware of it. I'm not able to agree.
Well, Dr. Ben, that also takes us to the issue surrounding the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, which is saddled with the responsibility of ratifying and also giving, access to some of these publicities or advertisements on billboards and all of that. Could these billboards probably have gone through, ACON and gotten approval before they were placed? And if yes, why didn't ACON stop it in the first place, being that it is a government regulatory body and it is saddled with the responsibility of doing so, and it knows the rules and guidelines provided by INEC with regards to the matter?
Let me deconstruct the question. Let me say another one. I'm saying, where the billboards put through those regulatory agencies before they were put?
Well, if they didn't go through ACON, I don't think those billboards would have been there for more than a day.
And then if they were put without going through ACON or this one, what will happen?
They will be taken down.
And they'll not be taken down.
So it went through ACON.
And then
most likely.
I'm asking, what if they didn't and they've not been taken down?
Well, in terms of whose advert it is.
Yes.
Is it a case of a sacred cow?
Yes. So if you go and see the Mr. President's picture in the billboard, you can put it down, and you're still standing. So
we have sacred cows in this case.
It will be unbelievable for any ordinary ASCON, whatever his name, advertisement man, agency of regulatory, whatever the name. You see Mr. President's picture, you can put it down. It will be unbelievable. No, I'm saying that it is a function. My own opinion is that it's a function of we are public. Some of us know these things now. We test the waters. We call it a rogue public policy strategy whereby theory X, whereby you test people, you test the waters. You keep testing the waters. You keep dropping it, and then haven't you seen where press statements are denied? So it's a rogue public, and then when such things happen, it comes to the question of credibility. It comes to the question of trust. It comes to the question of self-confidence. If I'm not confident about myself, if I'm sensing danger, I deploy rogue policy making, whereby I do like this, and it doesn't fail. This rogue one doesn't fail.
Now that's one angle to the conversation. The second angle is in terms of if INEC, much like your faulted Arcon's position on being able to issue sanctions, do you think INEC would consider this an infringement on the guidelines with the window given for commencement and conclusions of campaigns?
Consider what?
This as an infringement.
Consider what? Mention them. Because I can answer the question. Because there's a press release that said President is not aware of it. So who is INEC going to hold now? Do you know the person who put the billboard there? Did you see that?
His name is there. Quite frankly, he put his name there.
What of his phone number? And you can also tell me that he wasn't the person. I can go and put a picture now. I can go to area 10 and put a picture and put it somewhere. Did he put his phone number? Did he sign it? The president has denied.
So you think it's a clever way of testing the electoral?
It is a rogue public policy strategy whereby I test the waters and deny. Meanwhile, the idea is to watch and see public opinion, public response, and then you cannot hold in. Who is INEC going to penalize now? Is it going to penalize me or somebody whose picture? And then did you see him putting the billboard there? What if you're going to say, are you going to violate his fundamental human rights by arresting him for what? And do they put those things in the morning? They put it in the night. Have you look at it now? I'm giving another angle. So it is a function of the strategy used by those who want to play politics. It's another rogue political approach.
How do we checkmate these support groups for political parties or for politicians in the country to ensure that while they are siding with their principles or their party of choice, they do not overstep boundaries? Yes, it's okay to assume or presume that the political parties are the ones, or in this case now, the ruling party, which is the case study, is testing the waters and trying to know, to get public opinion. But how do we also checkmate the support groups? Like in the case of this particular billboard, we hear that it's the grassroots support for Tinubu 2027. There are so many groups like that. How do we ensure that these guys do not overstep?
When you say overstep, what do you mean by overstep?
By means of this sort of instances where they set up billboards when INEC has not given the clearance for campaigns to begin in the country. You have
no capacity to checkmate them. Do you have police? Do you have DSS? You only have mouth to talk. And we are saying that it is wrong. We have checkmated them.
What agency is saddled with the responsibility of checkmating them?
And I'm saying that it's not a question of the agency. The presidency has denied them. If the presidency is not in line, if the president hates them, they will make a simple memo. Everybody will go down. But if they are putting the president's picture somewhere and no actions have been taken by the appropriate authorities, you cannot do anything about it. What you do is that ensure that there are no breaches of peace. There are no insecurity. People don't take to the. People don't go against. People don't go for self-help.
Yeah.
What they do? How you can do that? You are the only people that can do it by continuously educating people. Maybe those who are doing this don't even know the rules. So your job, you had the fourth estate of the realm is the one that can even do better than the other arms, legislature, judiciary, and stuff. So the more education you give to people, the more awareness they have, the more they can respond appropriately, positively and peacefully. So you cannot, nothing you can do about it.
Now there's also this room for ensuring that the electorates are in the know of the guidelines by INEC. It's a party responsibility. I don't know if your party, the Labour Party, is taking it a step further. On the average, people just know that there's 150 days following the notice for campaigns to begin. That is after party primaries are concluded and a candidate has been announced. In the case of the APC, yes, the president is supposed to run for 2 terms as the party has agreed, and the national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, has made it known. But The notice has not been posted. Whenever 150 days close to 2027. It might be a rogue strategy to test the waters. But what does this do for voter education from the angle of parties, knowing that it is a responsibility to inform their electorates?
Let me widen this narrative. You have put it to parties. Party A, APC, Labour, PDP, and ABGA and stuff. They are to educate their members. But their members are not the one that will end up making the totality of Nigeria in terms of being a democratic environment. I'm saying it is actually the media.
And INEC.
Media. Does INEC have television stations? They don't have radio, they don't have internet, they don't have stuff, this kind of education something. You are asking me a question, each people should be answering. Put media, you have internet, social media stuff. You are the one that will consistent, irrespective of what, because the party will be doing their own, in their own interest, because politics is about interest. But people are going to be dispassionate in pulling the narrative to the people, telling them what to do, telling them how it will be done. Take two, three time belts and continuously do that. So whoever wants to get information concerning this thing, they go to your website, they go to your stuff, they listen to you. Otherwise, if you give it to the party, they are partisan. The party people will not help the national narrative in terms of bringing Nigeria to a democracy. They are going to be doing it in a way that it will favor their people. And then when they narrow it to the favoring of their people, the country as a whole, because now everybody is not a party member. Everybody is not a party member. And your duty is also to educate even those who are not even party members. So it is the fourth estate of the realm. That's why you have to do, to ensure that you have capacity to, or that you develop more capacity to educate people. Voter education, the one party, the one INEC is doing, cannot suffice alone, cannot be enough. You people are the one that should be doing that.
Now, whilst we're all called for a collective responsibility in shaping and educating the populace, the challenge is with the lack of deterrence. Now, whilst this is a case study, it might happen post-2027. Another political party, probably not the incumbent, decides to begin premature campaigns. What would be the recommended deterrent to serve as a marker going forward that if you do this, the penalty is not even stated in the Electoral Act of 2022 as to what the penalty for such actions is?
There are penalties. INEC guidelines, there are penalties. If you go against the rules, including earlier campaign before, that's why these people quickly denied. So they've denied there is no demo. You can't penalize them, or people cannot hold INEC to penalizing them. There are enough. Our problem is not about having penalties. Our problem is about implementing them. There are enough penalties in INEC guidelines. Even in, I used to have, I don't know mention my party's name. I used to have there are penalties there. Enough. In fact, the excess. But who will implement them? I'm saying that whatever penalties is, if people know more about the do's and don'ts, it will be a better democracy.
Well, interesting take, Dr. Ben. Just to wrap up the conversation on the program this morning, in terms of coalitions, in terms of mergers, let's shift away a little bit from billboard talks and all of that now. But going into the 2027 general elections, there is one thing I just want you to react to, and that is the position of former President Muhammadu Buhari in the political scene ahead of 2027. Recently, we saw a delegation led by former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar visiting the residence of the former president in Daura alongside a delegation of PDP members. You know, they said they were there for Salah greetings or post-Salah greetings. And of course, we also saw Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje leading a delegation of the APC to the same Daura to greet the same man who was once president of the country, citing that it was for Salah greetings. Is there an undertone to this beyond Salah felicitations from both political parties, the PDP and the APC?
There is always undertones when politicians are on ground.
Yeah.
But the former president is a very wise man. I saw, we understand something too. I appreciated his smartness. Buhari didn't agree to endorse anything. If you remember, he was asked to assist in ensuring that people stop leaving the APC. He refused. He didn't participate because he knows that he's already tired. He doesn't have that value again. And then if he goes into the fray, they now drag him and demystify him the more. So the man is a very smart person. Maybe his advice is no, because he wants to enjoy his retirement in peace. So if you come and now say, okay, I support PDP, I support APC, I support anything, well, what value will it be? The other people will drag him, and then no. So people will always keep contesting, keep dragging, keep looking for this, keep looking for that. I didn't even tell the man they went to meet. I outsmarted them. He was a very smart man. He's a tired person. He's a retired person. He's elderly. Won't you allow him to enjoy his retirement in peace? To look after his grandchildren, eat groundnut with them, drink small wine with them, and then enjoy. Then he will go into the party again, into the dragging again. They call him here, call him there, call him here. No, is it worth it? He wants to enjoy his retirement in peace.
But why the need for validation from the former president?
Because the parties are looking for anything that can help. It's like politicians, anything that can help you to win election, even one vote, you don't mind. So they feel that if Buhari makes a statement in their favor, it will work. But Buhari became smart by knowing that any statement he makes will have overreaching consequences, which will even not be beneficial to him, because the opposition will start digging out stuff, will start dragging him, and then I don't even know how much does his own validation even mean. He doesn't have the clout again. In Nigeria, when you're no more in power, are you going to have that kind of stuff? So the small reputation he has, the small clout he has, these politicians will diminish it. So he was smart. He didn't buy the idea. If he had bought the idea, one of the people that went to visit him would have escalated the discourse to the point.
At this point, yeah.
So, but they did it. You can see it was we followed these things. It was a careful. It was a play. This is where the other people went. And what did Buhari say? He didn't escalate this one, because he knows that if he does that, he will be demystified.
Let it just be on record that these were Salah felicitations.
People can even visit me on Salah. Exactly. I can visit you on Christmas.
Certainly.
But it stopped there. But my purpose, I told you about deep structure and surface structure. Surface structure is Salah.
Yes.
Deep structure is to earn validation. Yes. And then the man didn't want to go down with them to the deep structure, because if he does that, he knows the consequences. And he didn't. He was a smart man.
All right, Dr. Ben, it's been a pleasure. And thank you so much for having this conversation with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.